we doing this?
I know, Betsy. It's been
Yeah.
so long.
Yes.
And we're like
So-
talking about it for what? A couple of years now.
So first of all, let me introduce like who you are. I'm so lucky that Angelica is not only my neighbor, but has become my good friend. And talk about worlds colliding. It was destiny that we became neighbors. And through this, it wasn't because like you have a connection to my daughter
No.
Haley, but
that was just like the magic moment of we could probably do a whole podcast episode on just like magic moments like that one.
But I totally believe that it was, so just a little backstory, won't tell you the whole thing, but my daughter Haley worked for Angelica, not here in New York, but in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, Angelica and I wound up being not only neighbors, but I am so blessed to have you as a neighbor. She is neighbor and friend. She is so generous. You really are always like, what can I do to help? And
I feel the same for you. It was definitely destiny, and nothing ever happens for no reason.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely one of those moments where it felt magical.
Yes.
That it just happened to be life happening for you. Like that's how I felt. I feel very blessed and grateful that you're here as my neighbor through thick and thin. I feel like I can always call you up and say,
well,
hey.
you always have my back too. And the other really funny thing too, and kind of what we'll talk a lot about here today, is that we wind up, we both have a passion for wellness, and we wind up following a lot of the same people.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, I just saw a podcast on that with that person, and so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that too.
Like, yeah, definitely. You're like, are the internet, like the digital gods, like they know we're neighbors, or they just know we like the same thing? So we keep getting served up the same content. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So wellness. We're talking about wellness today.
We are.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to share with everyone, like, what do you do to nourish mind, body, spirit, all of that?
Oh my gosh, I go through phases. Lately, I've been trying to get into just a morning ritual again, because I have been a little bit like the summer, happened. There was a lot of stuff happening this summer, good and not so great. And so my schedule and routine has gotten a little shaky. And I always find that if I could set up my day in the morning to nurture myself, physically with really good food and nutrition, mentally with like meditation or just a walk. Like I absolutely love walking. That really helps me. Meditating, whether it's priming. I don't know if you know about priming.
I don't. What is that?
So priming is something that I learned from actually one of my first like coaches.
Okay.
And then I found out she actually said she got it from Tony Robbins, and it's really like setting yourself up for the day physically and spiritually.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
so priming for the day.
Priming, but it's actually an exercise.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like an exercise. I'll send it to you. It's really cool, but it's like you kind of like pump your. So it's getting into state, right, and physical state. So Tony Robbins really believes in the whole like triad of, it's about your physical state, your mental state, and then the story that you're telling yourself. So, yeah, I mean, I will do priming in the morning, which is usually guided through Tony Robbins.
Okay.
I will either go for a walk. I will definitely do some lemon water when I first wake up.
Do you like it warm or
room
temperature?
Usually room temperature. Okay. Squeeze a lemon, 16 ounces. I switch it up, but I have to like do basically a few of those things and then I like to listen to podcasts that feel like they're fueling my juices, my creative juices, depending on what's going on for the day.
What time do you get up?
I lately have been getting up later ever since COVID. I used to get up at like 5:36 religiously. Now it's gotten a little bit like shifted to like 7:38. And I feel like I have to get back to maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe 6 o'clock, 6
Yeah.
o'clock's probably a good time to give myself enough
Yeah,
time before
yeah.
like the day really
Yes.
starts.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's actually like something that I'm kind of curious about is depending on what time you get up, like how do you balance that with work and
Mm. Well, I usually I try to look at my schedule before I go to bed to say, okay, what time do I need to get up
Mhm.
to make sure I could fit in a walk if I want to do like a 45-minute walk or some yoga. I love yoga with Adrienne. I know you follow her too. Love her calendar because it's just, and usually whatever's on her calendar, it always works out where that is exactly what I needed for this morning, whether, it's a salutation or it is something to just like fuel your spirit, your playfulness. Like
Mhm.
she always has some really cool theme for her yoga practice.
Okay.
And so I usually will look at that the night before and see 20 minutes, a half hour, 45
Okay.
minutes, and then make sure I just schedule it in. Yeah, scheduling things is really important for me. Putting it on the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big like put it
Oh
on
my
the calendar.
gosh. I still am a big list person.
Yeah.
But I love a list. But lately, instead of having, and I do have a list,
Yeah.
but lately I've been working more off of just putting it on my
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
And I don't even look at a list necessarily every day. Definitely once a week.
Yeah.
I modify my list, but now like my list is more like what's on my calendar.
Yeah. And what kind of list do you have? Because I'm a list.
So I have I use Excel
Okay.
on my computer, but on my phone though I have like my grocery list.
Yeah,
I
like
have
notes.
any list.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you use that. Okay.
Yeah.
I love notes. Like the notes in my phone is chock full of lots of lists because I have like house lists, work lists, personal,
Yes.
other just to do like very quick to do lists.
Yeah.
I do look at those a lot when I feel like I have to just like prioritize myself.
Yeah.
And then I like even personal things. Like why not put on the calendar like meditate, 7 a.m. I have that going. I have actually something from Master Co, who is another person that I follow. And I still have it as a reminder that pops up, but I don't do that every day. I just know like it pops up and it kind of gives me a little bit of a, hey, you need to take care of, your spirit and your mental state.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sounds like you have a great morning.
Yeah. Pretty good. It's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
I don't like to have like I'm consistent in the fact that I will then need the variety of new things to like refuel.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
And so what about so we talked about little mental nourishment,
Yeah.
a little food nourishment. Well, actually,
Yeah.
let's talk more about food. Talked about a little bit of physical nourishment, but let's talk maybe a little bit more about
Food. Oh my gosh. Food has been an ongoing journey, if you will, of when I eat better.
Okay.
When I say better, I mean more proteins, less carb, like processed, carbs and all that.
Yeah.
Sugar has become sort of not my friend as I've gotten older. So I've noticed that, like, if I have too much sugar, I feel like I'm like out of body, like just can't even think straight. When I've been starting to fast. So the food thing I feel like is a big optimization opportunity for me lately. Especially since the summer has been a roller coaster.
Well, did you find no, we moved in around the same time, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Was it 2022 for you?
I bought the house in 22, was renting it out
Okay.
until April of 23, and then I moved in. I moved in April 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but there's one of the great things about this area is that there's so many great food places, which I was totally indulging in like way too much in the beginning, and now I've got to
reset.
Not so novel anymore.
Yeah.
So like not go to Ital like every day for a scone.
Or pharmacy.
Yes.
Or no, they have really good stuff.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yes. Croissants or scones.
Yeah. those are my, but I'm trying to find my new kind of rhythm of like food
Mhm.
for like, and fall's actually a great time to like reset. I always think people, wait for the new year, or there's like this whole new year thing, but fall's becoming like this new, like it's the start of school and
Yes,
summer's
new
over and
routine.
you need to
Yes.
like kind of cleanse
Yeah,
the
especially
palate.
after the summer, any change of
Yeah.
season is really
Yeah.
a good time to start a new routine. Yeah.
So I'm feeling like I really generally just need to do that right now, is start a new, I don't know, like just start a new routine for
Yeah.
fall and
Yeah.
until the end of the year.
Yeah, you're invited to
Yeah.
into this conversation.
I know. I'm like, do we look here? Do we look here? It's just
Wherever.
this is all fun.
Wherever.
This is new.
So you had mentioned a little bit about fasting. So what are you doing
Yes.
with that? Because I'm kind of obsessed with that.
Oh,
right
you
now,
are?
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have been doing it like during the week, mainly,
Okay.
16 hours of
Okay.
a fast, and
Okay.
then breaking it, and then usually breaking it with like a salad, or like usually eggs a lot of the
Okay.
time, like protein
Mhm.
and some veggies.
Mhm.
I just really started again this week because we just had a block party.
Oh my gosh, we are still eating leftovers. I mean,
I know. And yesterday I was like, but it actually gives you a little bit more breathing room on what you eat if you do the fasting thing. So you don't have to be I feel like as rigid as maybe I was in the past.
Yeah.
With like not
Yeah.
eating carbs.
Yeah, I know. It's like just don't want to like have to think about it so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 70% like unprocessed things, like vegetables,
Mhm.
and more and more protein than ever
Yes.
before.
Yes. Yeah.
Just because of the stage of life.
Right.
It's
It's hard to find, and maybe you have some good ideas about protein. I'm finding that one nice thing to just get some extra protein in is raw nuts, like right before a meal, pop like a handful of raw nuts. But what other things do you use for good protein?
I love hummus. I
Okay.
love hummus on a lot of things. Obviously, chicken. Just discovered that whole chicken at Trader Joe's that my niece turned me on to. I'm like, oh my God,
That's
I'm
so
obsessed
good.
with this.
Yeah.
Anything that's easy. I don't do a lot of protein powders or anything like that, but I feel like I need to like find something that's going to be really good to like throw in a smoothie
that doesn't have too much carb or too much fat.
Yeah. I would love to find something like that.
I feel like nuts are kind of the perfect thing.
Yeah, they
because
are.
it has healthy fat.
Yeah.
It does have some fiber.
Yeah.
And protein.
Yeah, and
But-
protein. All in one.
But I mean, you can't just have nuts.
Yeah. That would be nuts. No.
That
That would be nuts. Too many nuts would be crazy. Just too much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, too much of anything, right? Is too
Yeah.
much. What else? I'm trying to think. Peas. I had peas last night with my parents. They decided, they're like, my mom, she's been not feeling the greatest, but she mustered up like a whole little like pea soup thing, and it was
Oh.
actually really good. I'm like, there's a
Wow.
lot of protein in here.
Okay.
And it was really tasty. Just like a little tomato and like just a
Speaking of tomatoes,
Yeah.
we're all of a sudden harvesting a zillion
tomatoes.
from our garden.
Oh
so
my
I'm
gosh.
gonna give
Okay.
you some.
Yay!
But I love being able to just go out and get, fresh herbs,
Yeah,
that aren't going bad in your
Yeah.
refrigerator, and
that's always nice.
that's great to throw in the salad
Yeah.
too, like
Yeah.
basil and
Basil. I love basil in the salad.
yes,
Isn't that good? Or even
Yeah.
parsley. Like throw some parsley
yes.
in there.
Parsley is great, great kind of detoxer.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. I love cilantro too.
Yes, but mine we had it for like a week, and it.
You're like, yeah.
I don't know why it didn't thrive in
Yeah.
our garden. I don't know why. Anybody
Maybe
has any
next year.
tips about
Cilantro.
cilantro? Very sentiment.
Bring it in. Yeah. Oh my.
So then what does that look like in terms of when you stop eating at night and when you start in the
In the morning?
morning or afternoon?
I try, so it's right now it's been like 2 o'clock. I'll start eating, and then I stop eating at about almost like 10, which is maybe a little too late.
Okay.
So I'm trying to move everything
Uh-huh.
up
Yeah,
a little, but
yeah,
I go to bed later.
Yeah.
I've been waking up later.
Uh-huh.
So I have to, I gotta kind of like probably push it all.
Yeah. Well, with the time of year
Yeah.
and the sun going down earlier, and then we change our clocks.
Yeah, makes
so
sense. Makes sense.
it should hopefully help to
Push
move
it all,
everything. Yes,
push it
yes,
all up
yeah,
or
yeah,
back.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Wait, what does
Yeah.
it fall behind and spring ahead?
Spring
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah,
So that's what we're doing.
yeah, yeah. So then, what about, so during the day you're working, during the week.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's
Lots of Zooms. That's why this is so nice. We're
yes,
in person.
in person for a change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you get to work from home, right?
Yep.
Which isn't
From
great.
wherever.
I think that gives you like such
Oh my God.
flexibility, and it's so helpful to be able to take care of yourself and work in
Yeah.
some healthy routines
Definitely.
when you work from home
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you travel too, which let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's
traveling.
hard to keep a routine traveling. How do you manage that?
Well, it's funny, like when I travel, I used to travel all the time when I was working with Haley, her daughter. I would come back to New York a lot, and I ended up just getting into a routine of being on the same time zone. So when I was in California, I would get up at 5 a.m. just naturally. I'm like, I'm awake, it's 5 a.m. Just super awake. Here, I'd get up at 8. So I feel like my body kind of gets used to the travel once it's consistently happening. This summer I traveled a lot. I was in Greece, I was in Vegas, and I was in California. I found that, staying very much about the movement, like moving my body in some way, shape, or form, whether it's like go walk on the treadmill if there's a treadmill at the gym, go outside because you're somewhere beautiful, right? Go for a swim. Then like doing yoga anywhere, you could do that anywhere, right? So I could be really consistent with the yoga.
I think one of the good things that came out of COVID was so many fitness art
programs
streaming. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
That's
so you can pick something up anywhere.
Anywhere. And my original coach that I was working with, Tracy Campoli, she's always had this like online, you can do it anywhere with no weights, just body weights. Maybe she's like, if you're not even home and you don't have your 2-pound weights, like use some water bottles and just use whatever's around. So really, I don't have any excuse to not move other than sometimes I get in my head and then I don't do it.
Right. Well, I think one of the hard things is with working is that companies and clients tend to cram back-to-back meetings. So it's like, how do you, once the day starts, like, how do you find time to do it?
That's why I gotta do it in the morning. If you do it in the morning, then you're like, all right, I took care of myself.
Yes.
It does set the tone for your day.
I think that's really smart.
So I feel like I have to get back into it now that it's like things are ramping back up. There's a lot of projects happening, lots of new opportunities. So we'll see. Yeah. I always like to get myself into a routine because it just, it helps my brain. It helps my function, like my daily function to get through all the meetings and all the various emails and all the things that go on.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So Wednesday, September 11th.
Yeah.
Where were you when?
I actually just started working at L'Oreal.
In the city.
In New York. Yeah. And I was living in Hell's Kitchen on 43rd and 10th.
Okay.
And I was going in like kind of dressed down because we were going to somebody's house, Sarah Brown, an editor, beauty editor, to launch Armani Cosmetics in the US. And I had to pick up some things, and I was there. Like I saw the whole thing happen through the 33rd floor.
Wow.
The 30th floor, because I moved upstairs. 30th floor at the time. And the corner office had a perfect view downtown. And when I walked into my office, the office, you could see it, saw the second plane hit. And then everybody
Oh my
was in this
gosh.
other office down on the other corner, which was, the president's office, and he had the TV on, and, it was all like, just everything was unfolding like this was not an accident. They thought the first one was an accident, and the second one wasn't. It was, it still is so surreal that that happened. It just didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was at all possible. And my family was everywhere. They were like all over. My parents were in Italy, like for the summer. They couldn't get in touch with us. My brother and my sister-in-law were flying down to Puerto Rico, and we're like, what flight were they on? Like, we didn't have their flight information, so we're a little bit like freaked out. Yeah, and my sister was, back home in Staten Island, so none of the cell phones. I don't know if you experienced that day, but none of our cell phones were working. I mean, it was 2001, so we didn't have smartphones either. It was very archaic. But yeah, it was such a terrible day, and it's one of those things when I'm trying to process it.
Right.
How many years now
Right.
later? It's 23.
Yeah, and it seems like, gosh, with everything that's going on now, it's like,
Yeah.
have we not, as a world, like not
Yeah.
gotten, but rather than, focusing on that,
Yeah.
what I'd love to know is amongst like what's broad spectrum, what's happening in the world, smaller spectrum in your own life, when you have a lot of chaos
There's a
going
lot of
on.
uncertainty going on right now
Like
in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how do you keep your center and how do you keep your peace?
I practice mindfulness, and that's something I have. It's like the ultimate. I say like peer pressure when you start getting in your head thinking about just how much uncertainty there is right now with the election and the wars going on, and just there's just so much terrible stuff happening in the bigger world. And also personally, there's a lot going on with my family right now. So, and loss of a friend this past summer. So, grief, just there's a lot. You just have to keep focused on the present moment, being here with you, enjoying a beautiful day, enjoying, like, I don't want to say they're not small things, because they're actually really big things. Like, if you keep yourself grounded and appreciate what you have in the moment, it just keeps building and building. Even when a lot of stuff, even a lot of things are happening that aren't great. So, yeah, I feel like that's what helps me the most, is when I feel overwhelmed by there's just so much going on in the world, is I just go back to gratitude practice and mindfulness. And mindfulness for me is gratitude for what I do have, not what I don't have, or what's missing, or what's going on with all the many, many various factors in the world and in my own personal world and family. I just have to go, okay, here, I got all my limbs. I got all, I'm healthy. My family is generally healthy. There are some things that we're dealing with, but it's,
Well, I think that's great, advice, is just to, come back and just think about like all the things that, like, gratitude is like the grease that helps everything else flow.
Oh my God, yeah. It feels like a miracle sometimes, right? It's that like small, tiniest of shifts of, oh, wow, this was always here. Like, when I actually started to realize that that was something that I could just observe and see, that it's always here for you to just stop and see what's happening, really, and then appreciate it, and then go about your day. It changes everything. It does. It does. It's a miracle. Like, it feels like a miracle at times.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it creates momentum too. It's like the more, like a habit, the more you practice gratitude, then how is it that there's so many things that are like flowing in effortlessly?
It's totally an energy.
And
do you believe in that, like energy and the universe and source?
Absolutely. I mean, I started teaching qigong 4 years ago, but it just at that time it scratched the surface of then I got certified in Ayurveda,
Yeah.
and just like bringing in all of that,
Yeah.
knowledge, and then applying
Yeah.
it to Qigong, it's really just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
It's just like the more I
Yeah.
read and or hear,
Yeah.
there's so much more to kind of tapping into that energy.
Yeah.
I guess is the way I would say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I have to find it out.
Yes.
I have not.
When
done
it's
Qigong.
beautiful and outside.
Yeah,
Beautiful and we're outside.
I've never
yeah.
done. I've done Tai Chi, but it's not. It's
Uh-huh.
different. Right?
Well, it is. I mean, the moves are very similar,
Okay.
but the way I teach my classes is a little unorthodox because I use like really fun music. Like today's theme was kind of a Southern rock theme.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's cool.
And in fact, I played Greengrass and High Tides, and it does get like a little fast, but then we slow it down.
Okay.
And so it's fun.
That's
It's,
cool.
but like when you have like a day like today and it's not too hot and the breeze is blowing and your arms are flowing, it's
that's fine. And
really
where do you do
amazing.
it?
So Tuesdays I'm at Page Wellness, and just through September,
Okay.
and then the whole year I'm at the Rec Center on Thursday mornings.
Here in Highland?
Yeah, here in Highlands. So we can be outside when it's nice, and then when it's not so nice, we can
Because that's
be
right
inside.
it's right on the beach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah.
nice.
So you've got, and even if you're inside, there's picture windows, so you can see the water, you can see New York. It's
that's
really pretty fun.
Yeah, we're in like a really unique
The best,
spot.
the best.
It's just like hidden, like a
It's-
hidden gem.
Yeah,
It's got everything. You want some mountains, you want like hiking, you want beach, great restaurants,
Yeah.
music.
yeah.
It like all the neighboring towns are so cool. So yeah.
It is a miracle.
Yeah. You're like, how did I find this here?
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
So, anything else that you'd like to share in terms of your
Just wellness, overall wellness is
what you do?
yeah, really it's reminding myself too that the only the only things that I really ever have control over
Mhm,
is my mind,
mhm.
my body, and my thoughts and my emotions that get connected to my thoughts, right? So and my spirit and what I bring to
Yeah.
anything that I'm doing. So yeah, I think the control thing, it's more like training. It's more like training, and you never really arrive. You just keep learning and
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah,
Yeah, it's practice, right?
it's practice.
I mean, and there's, never a point at which
you arrive.
exactly. I mean,
I
you
don't-
might, yeah. I don't even know like if like mastering is the right word, for it,
Yeah.
but I think that definitely the more you practice these things, that the more resilient you become.
Yeah, you kind of stay less in the low low zone because
Yeah.
you have all these tools in your
Right.
toolbox to
Right.
kind of get you out
Right.
of. I feel like whenever I'm in my head, I'm dead. Like spiritually, physically, emotionally. If I'm too here,
Right.
I really get kind of caught up.
Right.
So I
And-
feel like moving my body, changing my physical state usually changes.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Totally. I think that again, it kind of goes to, what can we do ourselves
Mhm.
to, no matter like what's going on
Right.
around us, like how can we be the calm within the storm? And again, I think it just comes down to practice.
It does, yeah. And loving everyone unconditionally with boundaries, with some boundaries, because yeah, that's, learning that too. Because sometimes you get sucked in when you're in certain environments because it
Right.
is all about energy.
Right.
So I've learned that too. Like
Mhm.
surround yourself
Mhm.
with like-minded people, and conserve your own energy.
So what about when, I don't know, you're in a conflict in a situation, or
Counting's good. Counting before saying anything.
yeah.
Learning. I'm learning that. I'm a fiery Italian, so yeah. Sometimes it's hard to do that. I can't say that I always do. I'm not perfect for sure. I can sometimes just explode, and I have been practicing, like, just count. I definitely am learning about the knowingness of not knowing is actually such an amazing thing. Not knowing everything, or really thinking that you know at what other people are thinking
Yes.
is like a miracle
Yeah,
too.
like you're creating this.
Yeah, you can't create stories
Yeah.
in dialogue because it's
May or may not be
usually
true.
a fraction of what you think it is.
Right.
So
Yes.
I've learned that
Yeah.
the hard way, but I've learned that ask questions, be curious, yeah, be playful. Nobody wants to be around like militant, like sergeant kind of like energy.
Yes.
So it's nice
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just feel like, okay, let's just have a conversation, even, leading teams and working with people, like just be a human and know that people always have, whenever in a work environment, especially, there's like, maybe 10% of what's really going on in their lives. Not that you want everybody to like talk about their personal stuff all day long, but everybody's human and they're bringing so much to the table, especially in the environment that we're in right now. So it's just being compassionate and understanding of what other people might be going on. And maybe they don't want to tell you everything, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that,
so
honestly, that is like great advice. And just trying. Again, it sounds like like just kind of bringing it back to a moment and only trying to respond to what your own
because you can really only control yourself and your own thoughts, emotions, and your body. Really, the rest are. It's outside. You have to like protect your own inner peace and create it. Create it. You create it.
Yes, create your life. Create your best life. We have.
Yeah, we have. We really, really have. Even with all the things going on, it is a beautiful location. I'm so happy to be here with you. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I know we've been trying to do this for like so long.
Yes.
And I'm so happy.
Me too.
Thank you. So much. Oh my God.